Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Got my good friend on, Marc Krasney. He's attorney of law, and but you know, don't get angry just because I said that. He's one of the good attorneys. Hey, Marc, always glad to have you on the phone. How are you today?
Doing all right, Kevin. Thank you.
Great. Tell us real quickly about the Krasney Law Firm before you talk about your topic today.
Yeah, you bet. What we did March 1st of 2007 was take a law firm and make it proactive. So instead of being the litigator I was for years working in the business environment, I chose to get more involved in businesses so that they can prevent those lawsuits and thus keep the money in the business pocketbook as opposed to mine. You know, so many times with businesses, they get reactionary, and that's when lawyers get involved. Mm-hmm. And typically by then, it's too late for me to really make a good solution other than some kind of a monetary settlement.
Yeah.
This way, I learn about the business, and you know, we are engaged from day one, and hopefully, like I said, to prevent lawsuits.
Mm-hmm. And so that's that's awesome. I love that. And I love what you're doing, and I'm grateful for that kind of service because I think it's so needful. So many people get in trouble because they think they can't afford legal help to do things right on the front end, which guarantees they kind of screw things up on the back end.
Absolutely. And so many clients, and I totally understand this, don't involve lawyers because they don't want to pay the $200, $300, $400 an hour. They just think, well, I can handle that. And the best advice I can give to any business owner is, you guys know how to make the widget, or you know how to provide the service. You don't know how to be an accountant, you don't know how to be a lawyer, and do your absolute best to go and find two really good professionals there, and then focus on your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your topic for us today?
Well, what I was thinking about was making sure people are set up in the right entity. There's so many different Texas entities available, or even foreign entities for a person's business. You know, most people just think there's a corporation to be set up, and that's true, but there's a discussion I think that has to be had. You know, a lot of people come to me and say, well, I set this up online because I just thought it was better. Or here's my other favorite, people will say, well, I have a DBA, so I know I have a business. Well, that's all true, but there's so many intricacies to that environment that most people who provide the service or make the widgets don't know.
Yeah, you have a business. You have a very vulnerable, easily taxed, and excessively taxed business if all you have is a DBA.
Yeah, and most people don't really understand that. They think because I have some name out there, I'm doing business as this name and I have some protection. Well, that's not true, Kevin. All people really have is the ability to go out and operate a business as that name. That's it. And so when they file their tax return, they're going to file any money coming in under their personal Social Security number. And in the event there's liability in that entity, that person's Social Security number, that person's going to have liability, which is not really what they want.
No, I don't think so. I think they're trying to get rid of that, not add it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there's other intricacies, too, like if somebody gets set up as a corporation, well, that's a good idea because that protects, you know, there's one layer of protection there so that in the event there's a lawsuit, the assets of only that corporation can be levied or attacked. That's all true. But then there's some issues of taxation. With a law firm involved and an accountant involved, we can figure out how to avoid double taxation in that entity. For example, corporation goes out and makes $1, and it's really just, you know, you and another person. When you go and take $1 from that corporation, it's taxed again. So in essence, you just got taxed twice. Mm-hmm. So there's plenty of ways around that in that type of environment. And again, a good accountant and a good lawyer can help guide any business owner through that process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one thing that is really part of your preventative law is to take a company from a DBA to a partnership, LLC, an S corp. I mean, you help them do that.
That's exactly what we do, and you know there are so many good stories we have since my practice began of companies who started in their garage or their master bedroom and have sold for millions of dollars, or have changed into different entities and then merged into other entities and changed into other entities throughout the years for various reasons. We get involved and we help guide a company through those processes.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Talking about what's going on out there in terms of helping businesses stay out of trouble by making sure they're in the best place they need to be in the front end, and you do that all the time. And I think people think starting one of these corporations are prohibitively expensive, but that's really not the case.
No, not really. To start the entity, the filing fee in Texas is basically $300. And, we can have it set up within a day or two. And then there's some discussions that have to be had with getting minutes and books and things like that put together. My law firm fees, we do on a flat fee. And the idea there is we want a company to be able to budget for us. We don't want a surprise bill coming because small businesses just getting started can't afford a bill they can't at least plan on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, prior preparation prevents poor performance. So if you're not planning on it, you're asking for trouble.
Absolutely, for sure.
So always love to find out what's happening. You're kind of a harbinger of how things are going. What are you seeing out there in terms of this type of activity, legal activity?
What I see people doing is taking the money they've been stockpiling over the years and finally decide, you know what, it's time to invest. It's time to go out there and start that business. And it's scary, but it's also kind of fun and exciting for clients. And so I see them creating new businesses, expanding, and putting money back into their business, which for the last couple of years, I didn't see as much. Most of the clients were holding on to that dollar just because they weren't sure the next one was coming. And even though that might be the case still, I think, at least I see them more faithful in another dollar coming in tomorrow, so it's okay to get started on that new business venture today.
Very interesting. Interesting. It's good to hear. I like to hear more positive, upbeat type news. How do people get more information about you and your firm?
Sure. My website is KrasneyLawFirm.com, and our direct phone number is 713-589-8100.
Give that one more time.
Yeah, you bet. It's KrasneyLawFirm.com, Krasney, lawfirm.com, 713-589-8100.
Thanks very much, Marc Krasney, attorney at law, great friend of this program, and you're listening to The Price of Business. I'm Kevin Price on Business Talk 1110 AM.